Chapter 4760. It's good that she's like this. Qin Chu had always been protective. Fine. You have a strong taste, so I didn't say anything. It's fine as long as you two like each other. Seeing that she was in the wrong, Zhu Lingling couldn't be bothered to say anything. How dare you talk about her? Look at you. What are you wearing in the middle of winter? Your shoulders are exposed. Aren't you cold? Gao Ran criticized Zhu Lingling. I like it. Money can't buy it. What can you do about it? I don't care about you. I have nothing to do. I'll eat melon seeds myself. I don't care about you. Thus, the two of them started arguing again. Qin Chu and Huamin were already used to it. Qin Chu cut the steak and handed it to Huamin with a fork. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran were fed dog food. Hey, by the way, Mian, how was your tutoring this afternoon? Did it go well? Zhu Lingling asked casually. Huamin felt a little guilty. After all, she knew that Qin Chu didn't want her to have any contact with Huasiqian. So she nodded and said perfunctorily, "It's fine, it's the same as this morning." Gao Ran took a sip of his drink and teased Huamin. "Brainiac, how much have you made recently?" "More than 1,000. Huamin said. "Then shouldn't you treat us to a big meal or something?" "Sure." Huamin nodded. "No." Qin Chu refused. "I'm asking Huamin to treat us. Why are you in such a hurry? It's hard for her to make money. What do you want to eat?" "I'll treat you." "I'm the same as her," Qin Chu said. I owe yo, Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran jeered at the same time. Huamin's face turned slightly red. "Do you have to be so obvious?" "Eat your food." Qin Chu covered Gao Ran's mouth. Qin Chu actually felt bad that Huamin had to go out to work during the winter vacation. Because the weather was 20 degrees below zero, Huamin was as cold as a walking radish when he sat on the bus. Running all over the place to tutor others was indeed not easy. But he couldn't help her. Last time, when he returned from Mount Yunding, the money that he had secretly placed in her wallet had been returned by her. Because of this, Huamin angrily warned him that if he did this again in the future, he would definitely ignore him. Qin Chu was so scared that he didn't dare to give the money directly. He could only pretend to meet her by chance, drive her a few times, or buy her some hot milk tea. After dinner, Qin Chu drove Huamin home. Gao Ran took a taxi to send Zhu Lingling home. What was rare was that this was the first time Gao Ran officially sent Zhu Lingling off. It was rare that everyone was in a good mood today. Unexpectedly, when they were waiting for a taxi, they met an acquaintance. A black Mercedes-Benz 600 stopped in front of them. The car window slowly rolled down, revealing a delicate face. "Gao Ran, why are you standing here?" "I'm having dinner with a friend, and then I'll send her home." Gao Ran smiled. It's cold, why are you waiting here? It's not easy to get a taxi here. Come, get in, I'll send you home." "That's not good, right?" Gao Ran was a little hesitant. "Hurry up and get in." The girl insisted, so Gao Ran had to bite the bullet and get in. He even brought Zhu Lingling with him. Zhu Lingling wanted to refuse, but when she saw that Gao Ran had taken the initiative to open the car door for her, she was too embarrassed to refuse. After getting in the car, she realized that the atmosphere was very awkward. Zhu Lingling was sandwiched between the girl and Gao Ran. But she didn't know this girl at all, and she had never heard Gao Ran mention her. "Hello, I'm Yu Wenwen." The girl smiled. "Zhu Lingling. Gao Ran, is this your classmate?" the girl asked him. Chapter 4761. Yes. Gao Ran didn't explain further. "A few days ago, Uncle Gao came to my house for tea. My dad also said that he's going to Fiji for a vacation in a few days and wants to invite your whole family, but Uncle doesn't have time. My mom said that you and your mom should come with us. My dad invested some money there to develop tourism there. That island is very beautiful. I might not have time. I have a basketball game in a few days. Then I won't go either. I'll go and cheer you on." It was obvious that the girl liked Gao Ran. Throughout the entire process, Zhu Lingling didn't say a word because she couldn't get a word in. The girl had a chauffeur when she went out. She drove a Mercedes-Benz and carried a Chanel bag. The bracelet on her hand was Cartier, which was worth more than 200,000 yuan, and her shoes were worth more than 10,000 yuan. Zhu Lingling knew that Zhu Lingling was the daughter of a rich family. She also heard that Gao Ran's father was a high official and knew many high-ranking officials and dignitaries. Now it seemed that there was indeed a difference between her world and theirs. At this moment, she suddenly understood why Mian always said that she and Qin Chu were in a different world. It turned out that she felt it too. She originally wanted to confess to Gao Ran in front of her house. Now it seemed that he might have a better candidate. Stop the car in front, I want to get off, Zhu Lingling suddenly said. Isn't your house in Chaoyang district? My grandma's house is here. I suddenly miss my grandma, please stop. Just like that, Zhu Lingling got off the car halfway. I'll drive you. Gao Ran was about to get off the car. No need, you can accompany your friend. Goodbye. Zhu Lingling smiled awkwardly, and then almost ran away in a panic. Gao Ran wouldn't know that Zhu Lingling had planned to confess that night. However, she was interrupted by an uninvited guest. 3 days later, Huamin finished working for the holidays and asked Qin Chu to meet her. That day, she held the jade seal and waited in a Western restaurant with a good environment. She had sent a message to Qin Chu in the morning. Although he did not reply, he would definitely come when he saw it. She directly sent the location and time and then waited here. Huamin never dreamed that the person who came was not Qin Chu, but Qin Chu's mother. Qin Chu woke up early that day and went to the construction site with his father. It was said that there was a murder case there. Therefore, he forgot to bring his phone. However, when Qin Chu's mother was packing up, she saw the message on her son's phone. Then, he went to meet her. When a beautiful middle-aged woman sat in front of Huamin, her heart began to beat wildly. Hello, I am Qin Chu's mother. Hello, auntie. Huamin pretended to be calm. I saw the message you sent to my son. Huamin didn't say anything. She bit her lip nervously. If I may ask, you are his classmate, right? Yes, auntie. We are in the same class. Then why did you ask my son out for dinner alone? Are you two close friends? Mama Qin asked. Qin Chu has helped me a lot, so I want to express my gratitude, Huamin explained, not wanting to embarrass herself. If that's the case, then there's no need. My son is kind and treats everyone well. He has helped a lot of people over the years, even the beggars on the street. So, you don't have to take it to heart. Huamin still didn't say anything, but her heart was already aching. Child, don't send messages to my Chu anymore. Girls should save some dignity for themselves. After saying this, Qin Chu's mother turned and left. Huamin's tears fell. She tightly held the seal that she didn't have time to give away. For the first time in so many years, she was wronged because of Qin Chu. Many years later, Huamin woke up in the middle of the night. She picked up her phone and saw a WeChat message from Zhu Lingling. Mian, are you going to the class reunion tomorrow? Ms. Yao is back. Qin Chu and Huamian. Chapter 4762. In July, it was raining in Jiangnan. A girl in a black windbreaker walked in the heavy rain with a transparent umbrella. Her steps were light, and when she stepped on the ground, her steps were so steady that the rain didn't even splash on her. She came to her rented apartment at a leisurely pace. It was an old tube-shaped apartment, and most of the residents were widowed old people. The girl covered her face with an umbrella, so no one could see her face clearly. She took out a key and unlocked the old door. Then she opened the door and walked in. She even put away the umbrella without hesitation. Don't move. In the corner, 2 men in black came out of nowhere. Their faces were covered, and they had pistols in their hands. One of them walked out from the left and the other from the right, aiming at her temple. The girl didn't panic. She casually placed the umbrella on the cabinet by the door. Then she put down the vegetables in her left hand. Good, I bought a lot of groceries today. Do you want to stay and eat hot pot with me? She smiled. Don't play tricks. Damn girl, tell me, where is the professor? The girl sighed slightly. Then she sat down on the table and leisurely poured herself a cup of herbal tea. I've told you many times, if you want to find the old man, you should go to him. Why are you looking for me? It's so annoying. Since you don't want to talk, we can only take you away. I believe, Our boss has many ways to make you talk. After speaking, one of the assassins walked over quickly, trying to grab the girl. But before he could even touch her shoulder, the young lady made her move. In just 2 moves, both of his hands were broken, just like a butterfly with broken wings. Everything happened in a split second. When the other assassin came to his senses, he shot at the girl. The girl, who was sitting down, suddenly did a backflip. She flew up from the chair and snatched the shot. Then, something flew out of her sleeve. It directly cut through the man's neck. The other assassin fell to the ground with a little blood flowing out of his neck. Beside him was a murder weapon card. There were only 2 words on it. Lu Yen. Your boss is so useless. How can he send out such a person? What an insult to my intelligence. Lu Yen looked at the other assassin with broken hands. That person had a backbone. He was in great pain, but he refused to beg for mercy. He lay on the ground, in so much pain that he wished he was dead. Lu Yen turned around and sat down at the square table to continue drinking tea. Looking at the heavy rain outside the window, she was still in the mood to sing softly. The banana leaves outside the curtain provoke the sudden rain, the door knocker provoke the copper green, and I passed by Jiangnan town and provoked you. Jay Chou's Blue and White Porcelain was one of her favorite songs. She felt that it was very artistic. When she imagined that scene, she felt that it was extremely beautiful. The killer kicked the ground with both hands and then used his mouth to pick up the pistol that had fallen earlier. But before he could do anything, he saw the girl's high heels hook him forcefully. With a muffled sound, the pistol pierced through the killer's throat. It took less than a minute for the 2 assassins to die. Yes, only 60 seconds. Then, she continued to drink her tea calmly. He didn't seem to care about the smell of blood in the air. To her, killing people was as simple as eating and drinking. She was one of the most famous assassins in the world. She was the king of mercenaries in the mercenary world. She was a girl who had just celebrated her 20th birthday. Her name was Lu Yen. Chapter 4763. Boss, are you okay? 3 minutes later, 2 men in their 20s arrived. They were thin and weak men. They were Lu Yan's subordinates and had followed her since she left West Point Military Academy. I'm fine. The bodies were melted with liquid. Clean this place up. Don't leave any trouble for the owner. Boss. Lu Yan stood up and walked out. She didn't forget to pick up the transparent umbrella. After cleaning up the mess, Lu Yan's mood wasn't affected at all. She and her 2 subordinates found a small restaurant that served rice noodles. The restaurant in Jiangnan was beautifully decorated like a martial arts in ancient times. What would you like to eat? 3 servings of plain rice noodles and 3 bottles of beer. Please wait a moment. Boss, don't drink beer. One of her subordinates suggested out of kindness. Don't you think it's better to drink beer in this weather? The girl stuck out her tongue playfully. This was a face that could cause the downfall of a city. Red lips and white teeth, if there was a talent scout at this moment. If there was a talent scout, he or she would come over and ask for her contact information without hesitation. In this era where cosmetic surgery was the norm, such a natural face was hard to come by. Some people said she had the face of a Hong Kong movie star in the 70s and 80s. Some people said she had the most seductive Oriental face. Some people even said she looked like the teenage Hong Kong star Li Zi. She smiled with dimples and swayed gracefully. When Lu Yen smiled, no one could resist her charm. But such a girl was in the business of killing people. 2 years ago, she graduated from West Point Military Academy with insane grades. She killed 3 senior instructors who wanted to violate her and more than a dozen European and American classmates. Then she escaped from the academy with a few Asian classmates. Then she set up a mercenary group and began to kill people all over the world. Of course, most of the people she killed were heinous terrorists or triad leaders, or high-ranking officials of internal strife. In 1 year, she became the most wanted criminal in Interpol. Her code name was Second Mississippi. Why was she called Second Miss? It was said that Lu Yen had an older sister, but no one had seen her. Boss, when are we leaving? What's the rush? Are you done? Lu Yen lowered her head and looked at the dense password messages on her watch. No, I feel like we've been here for too long. It's not safe. There have been 7 groups of assassins in the past few days. But I haven't stayed long enough. Don't you think the rice noodles here are delicious? Lu Yen looked up. Her big, innocent eyes could make anyone's heart flutter. The 2 subordinates were speechless. Actually, the unspoken words in their hearts were, "All right, you're the boss, you call the shots." At this moment, Lu Yan's watch rang. She glanced at the phone and picked it up casually. "Little Yen, where are you?" The illusory image on the other end of the phone was that of a white-haired young man in a Russian military uniform. "In China." Lu Yen lowered her head. "When are you coming to Russia?" "If there's no business, why would I go to Russia? I'd be starving." "To see the snowy plains of Siberia with you," Lu Yen teased. But the young man wasn't angry. "I want to celebrate your birthday with you. I've already customized a gift." "You don't have to give me a gift. Just transfer 50 million to my account number." The other end of the phone was silent. The 2 subordinates almost laughed out loud. Only their boss was so thick-skinned that she dared to extort money from young Master Qiao. Chapter 4764. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Seeing that Xiao Fei didn't say anything, Lu Yen quickly pressed her watch and continued eating her noodles. 3 minutes later, her watch beeped and showed the transfer. It showed that she had transferred 50 million yuan into a Swiss bank account. Of course, Lu Yen used US dollars. So, she really extorted Xiao Fei this time. Who was Xiao Fei? He was the 3rd young master of the Qiao family, the #1 military family in Russia. He was favored by the whole family and would be the family head in the future. Lu Yan's subordinates, Alai and Jinju, had both seen Xiao Fei before. He was a very good-looking silver-haired young man. He was called a young man because he looked like he would never age. Especially Xiao Fei's face, which was almost paralyzed and expressionless. It was as if the end of the world had come, but he would still be as calm as he was. But only when he was with Lu Yen would he be full of love and smile brightly. Lu Yen and Xiao Fei had known each other since they were young. But because Lu Yen had been wandering around the world, they didn't see each other often. Therefore, they didn't have many chances to see each other. Lu Yen had her own headquarters on an island where even GPS couldn't locate. It wasn't because other countries' satellites weren't good enough, but because Lu Yan's technology was too advanced. She had hidden equipment that could make the entire island invisible. The most amazing thing was that if a ship or plane passed by nearby, she would use signal interference to make all of the uninvited guests change direction and take a detour. Of course, these amazing decorations weren't done by her. Instead, they were done by her father, the man who attracted the attention of the world, Professor Lu. "Boss, young Master Qiao is so good to you," Alai said straightforwardly. He had met Lu Yen at the West Point Military Academy. After witnessing her abilities, he had followed her willingly. Of course, they weren't deserters. They were in a secret branch of West Point Military Academy, which was a training ground for freaks. The others were all secretly captured by secret agents. They were geniuses from all over the world and most of them had excellent physical fitness. Lu Yen was basically walking into a trap. She joined willingly. In the hunting feast after graduation, Lu Yen, who was supposed to be the prey, was killed. She fought back with a few temporary companions and killed all the hunters. Lu Yen killed 3 senior instructors alone and escaped with the others. America was still crazily sending people to hunt them down in an attempt to take revenge, but taking revenge on Lu Yen was basically impossible. She had always thought that she must have been a cat in her previous life. Otherwise, why would she have so many lives? She had been shot and stabbed, but she still hadn't died. Bullshit. Am I not good to him? Lu Yen rolled her eyes. All right, but you're only a little bit good to Xiao Fei. Xiao Fei is especially good to you. Everyone who was close to Lu Yen knew she was childish. Especially to her own people, she was like a 20-year-old girl, or even less mature than a 20-year-old girl. She was actually very childish on the inside. It was just that she had no choice but to do those things that made people tremble when they heard them outside. If ordinary people called eating, sleeping, and working everyday life. In this way, Lu Yen could treat chasing and being chased as a part of her job in life. Or rather, it was to survive. She was separated from her father when she was very young. In order not to bring trouble to her daughter, the professor kept his whereabouts a secret. Even Lu Yen didn't know his exact location. When Lu Yen was 8 years old, she could live alone in a city or a country and escape from killers time and time again. So, when you were curious about why she was so powerful, she could tell you. She can tell you very firmly because I come from hell. Chapter 4765. After that hellish escape, Lu Yen didn't dare to be weak. She didn't dare to give up. His dad had said he would work hard to support everything with his dad and give his sister a normal and stable life. You talk too much. Hurry up and eat. Then we'll get to work. Lu Yen flicked Alai's head and finished the rice noodles in a few bites. She rubbed her belly in satisfaction and stood up. She had been in Jiangnan for a week and still hadn't seen the person she was looking for. It was said that the young master of Egret Mountain Villa was mute and very quiet. Someone from overseas offered 500 million to buy his internal organs. Egret Mountain Villa started out as a smuggling business. It was said that one of their ancestors was a tomb raider and raided many tombs. Later on, he gradually stopped and started to smuggle cultural relics. Perhaps there was a saying that was especially true. Digging up someone's ancestral grave was a crime against good karma. Therefore, the Bai family in Egret Mountain Villa had very few members. Even if there were some males, they couldn't keep them. It was even worse in Bai Guangjiu's generation. His son, Bai Chang, was said to be mute and never spoke. So, maybe karma really did come knocking on their door. On the surface, Bai Guangjiu was a low-key businessman from Jiangnan. His family had a serious porcelain business and had close relations with many countries in Southeast Asia. In fact, all of this was just a cover. He was trying to cover up his real smuggling business. It was said that the four-faced Buddha of the Tang dynasty that passed through his hands was sold at a high price of 1.8 billion yuan, shocking the world. Why didn't the higher-ups pay attention to such a big deal? This was also what everyone found the most strange. Therefore, the Bai family was still very capable. Since the beginning of the Qing dynasty, they had been rich for hundreds of years without falling. Lu Yen didn't want to care about the personal grudges between these customers and their targets. As long as it didn't go against her principles, she would take orders. Moreover, the people Lu Yen targeted didn't run away. So, although her mercenary group asked for a high price, they never failed. Chun Chun in the group took orders from Zambia. The buyer paid 100 million yuan as a deposit and asked for the organs of Bai Guangjiu's only son, Bai Chang. Lu Yen had investigated Bai Chang. Strangely, he had no other background except for being the eldest son of the Bai family. At this thought, Lu Yen turned on her watch again and opened the file. Bai Shang, male, 25 years old, the only son of Jiangnan's wealthy merchant, Bai Guangjiu. He was born unable to speak and had an autistic personality. He lived with his mother in Mount Hades since he was young. 10 years ago, after his mother passed away from illness, he lived in Mount Hades at the age of 15 until his father took him to Egret Mountain Villa at the age of 20. In the past 5 years, very few people had seen him. It seemed that he never took care of the family business and never met anyone. It was said that he would only appear once a year when the Bai family worshipped their ancestors. Lu Yen had been in this city for some time and had secretly visited Egret Mountain Villa several times. However, there was still no sign of the young master. He had originally said that he would return today, but he had just received news that the young master had fallen ill. In autumn, the cold dew was heavy. It was said that he caught a cold and had to stay in the Netherworld Mountain's courtyard. Boss, leave it to us. We'll go to the Netherworld Mountain and kill them. Meet us at the airport. Jin Ju said. Lu Yen glanced at him. Do you think you can enter the Netherworld Mountain? Jin Ju froze. He used to be a soldier in North Korea and was almost executed for violating military rules. He was rescued at the last minute and brought to a crazy branch. He was also one of the prey. Because he came from a mysterious country, he had a strange personality and was the kind of person who didn't listen to anyone except Lu Yen. Jin Ju thought that he was good at fighting, and his family's Korean kung fu was the kind that could make people admire him. However, Lu Yen said that he couldn't enter the Netherworld Mountain. What kind of logic was that? Hearing this, Alai smiled. Boss, are there many people guarding the Netherworld Mountain? Chapter 4766. Lu Yen shook her head. I've seen the real-time footage. Hades Mountain is reserved by the Bai family and is not open to the public. Also, there's only one path up the mountain. Is that path very steep? Alai was curious. No, an expert has set up an 8 trigrams array at the entrance. Ordinary people can't break the needles and can't enter. Hearing Lu Yan's words, both of them were shocked. Jin Ju didn't understand this because he didn't understand Chinese culture. Alai, on the other hand, knew a little. 5 elements and 8 trigrams. Are you serious? When have I ever lied to you? Lu Yen smiled. What era are we in? 5 elements and 8 trigrams. That's ridiculous. Technology is so advanced now. Can't we just blow it up with a miniature bomb? Alai was right. Technology was so advanced now. It wasn't ancient times. Who would use Chimen Dun Jia, 5 elements and 8 trigrams? It was too ridiculous. They have an array at each entrance. How many bombs do you think you can use? Are you going to blow up Hades Mountain? Do you believe that the Chinese police will shoot you in minutes? An array at each entrance? That's insane. Alai was dumbfounded. That's why the Bai family is not simple. This young Master Bai is even more so. Forget it, let's not waste time. I'll go meet him. Lu Yen threw the umbrella in her hand behind her back, and Alai caught it immediately. Then, Lu Yen walked towards a silk shop on the side of the road. Lu Yen went in wearing a black windbreaker. When she came out, she changed into a light blue qipao. Her 2 subordinates' jaws dropped. Their boss's figure and looks were matched with such a graceful Chinese qipao. She was almost like a fairy descending to the mortal world. Boss? Are you going to seduce him? Alai smiled. Lu Yen didn't say anything. You 2 idiots go back and wait for my news. Boss, we'll go with you. Why do you want to go with me? To travel? Lu Yen rolled her eyes. The 2 didn't dare to say anything. Ever since they followed Lu Yen, they knew that their boss always did the dangerous things herself. She left the simple and easy things to them. It was the opposite of other bosses. In other families, the bosses were afraid of death and didn't dare to do it themselves. That was why Lu Yen could make her subordinates obey her. Why are you still worried about me? Lu Yen didn't want them to worry, so she smiled. No, we're afraid that boss will kill someone in such a pretty dress. Her dress will be dirty, Alai said. Lu Yen laughed even harder. It's okay. I'll just take it as buying a red cheongsam. Then, Lu Yen snatched the transparent umbrella from Alai's hand and got into a taxi, heading toward Hades Mountain. He watched as the taxi drove away. The 2 of them didn't say anything. They listened to their boss and returned to the safe zone to wait for news. The cheongsam Lu Yen had chosen was short, and her fair thighs were exposed. She wasn't wearing stockings. Coupled with her stunning face, she was extremely alluring. Hence, the moment she got into the car, the driver stared straight at her legs. Have you seen enough? Let's go, Lu Yen said calmly. Beauty, where are you going? Abyssal Mountain. Oh, it's very far from there. It'll take more than an hour, and it's not easy to walk in the rain. Cut the crap. Are you going or not? Yes. Let's go. It's not easy to get such a beautiful girl. How can I not go? The driver smiled lewdly. He was a man in his late 20s with a square head and shifty-eyed eyes. One look and you could tell that he wasn't a good person. But Lu Yen didn't care because she was Lu Yen. Chapter 4767. Lu Yen didn't know if she did it on purpose or not, but she sat in the passenger seat. This way, she was closer to that person, and the temptation seemed to be greater. The red taxi was very old. The driver was good at driving, but he was a little unstable. He changed lanes and cut in front of others. It was obvious that he wasn't a good driver. The car gradually drove out of the city and headed towards Hades Mountain. In fact, Hades Mountain's original name wasn't Hades Mountain, but Hades Mountain. Later, maybe because it sounded like a homonym, people called it Hades Mountain. Beauty, what are you going to Hades Mountain for? On the way, the driver teased her. To kill people. Lu Yen answered with a smile. Ha, you're funny? You're very humorous. The driver laughed. Lu Yen pursed her lips and didn't say anything. But sis, don't say I didn't warn you. Hades Mountain isn't a tourist attraction. You're obviously a tourist, right? If you want to go to a scenic spot, why don't I take you to Moon Bay 50 miles away? What do you think? The scenery there is beautiful. Hades Mountain is a private mansion, the territory of the local rich by family. It's not open to the public. Even if you get there, you can only take photos at the foot of the mountain and can't go up. What's the point? The driver seemed to be trying to persuade her to change the location. I'll take photos at the foot of the mountain, Lu Yen answered patiently. You're quite stubborn. As the driver spoke, he didn't forget to look at her with shifty eyes. The weather wasn't good, and the rain was getting heavier. Halfway through, the heavy rain blurred their vision. You can't drive anyway. Why don't we find a place to hide from the rain? We'll leave later. Okay. Lu Yen nodded. Then, the driver made a sharp turn and parked the car in the wilderness. This was really the wilderness. It was a mountainous area, and they walked on the mountain roads. The mountains were connected. If the weather was good, they could see some cars coming and going. But when it rained, there were almost no cows or sheep. After parking the car, the driver couldn't wait and was ready to make a move. While Lu Yen wasn't paying attention, he carefully hid the dagger he had prepared in the car in his hand. Then his other hand touched Lu Yan's thigh. He even smiled wickedly. Sister, the weather is perfect for the occasion. Why don't we have some fun first? Before her hand could touch Lu Yen, she blocked it with her umbrella. She smiled slightly at the driver. How do you want to have fun? When the driver saw that this beauty's attitude was so good, it seemed that he didn't need to kill anyone today. He was ecstatic. I'm not that old either. I'm only 28 and I don't have a girlfriend yet. Why don't we get married first? Of course, if you don't want to, we can just do it once. I won't sleep with you for nothing. You're so beautiful, I'll pay you 500 yuan. The driver was quite generous and offered a price of 500 yuan. Lu Yen looked out of the window. It was raining cats and dogs, and they had nowhere to go. He might as well play a game of cat and mouse with this driver. Lu Yen smiled. Isn't 500 yuan too little? If you serve me well, 1,000 is fine too. Really, I have 1,200 in my car. I'll give it all to you. Is that okay? Let's have some fun. The driver was so lustful that he almost went crazy. Then I'll have some fun with you. Lu Yen smiled like a blooming flower. Chapter 4768. The taxi driver almost went crazy when he heard the girl was so easy to talk to. He wanted to pounce on her like a hungry wolf. He reached out his big black hand and tried to touch Lu Yan's face. He reached for Lu Yan's face, but before he could touch her face, he heard a crack and his wrist was broken. Crack. It wasn't the sound of special effects, it was the sound of a bone breaking. The taxi driver screamed in pain, his face turning pale instantly. How would he have thought that this delicate little lass in front of him would be so ruthless in her actions? He didn't even see how she did it. Her speed was so fast that he didn't know what to do. Little bitch. How dare you hurt me? I'm going to cut you into pieces today. After Lu Yen broke his wrist, the taxi driver was furious. At this moment, he wanted to kill her. He used his other hand to stab at Lu Yan's neck with the dagger. But this time, before his dagger touched Lu Yen, he heard a muffled sound. Lu Yen punched him in the chest. Lu Yen punched him with 60% of her strength. But who was she? She was Lu Yen the witch. Even 60% of her strength was enough to break someone's heart. The taxi driver immediately understood what it meant to break a rock in the chest. That seemingly soft punch, when it landed on his body, it felt as if it weighed 1,000 pounds. His hand that was holding the dagger suddenly lost its strength, and the dagger slipped out of the taxi. Then, the taxi driver spat out a mouthful of blood. Then he felt an indescribable pain in his internal organs. He was no longer in the mood to curse Lu Yen because his words were muffled. How painful was it? Lu Yen smiled and bent down to pick up the dagger from the taxi. Then, she grabbed the taxi driver's hair with one hand and dragged him out of the taxi. Yes, Lu Yen was very violent. With just one hand, she could drag this man, who weighed about 170 to 80 kilograms, out like dragging a dog. It was still raining outside, but it wasn't as heavy as before. The rain fell and mixed with the blood on the man's body, filling the air with an unpleasant smell. How can a scumbag like you be a taxi driver? Lu Yen smiled in disdain and looked at the dagger in her hand. Carrying a dagger with you? Ready to attack passengers at any time? That man couldn't make any sound at this time. He was just lying in the muddy rainwater, screaming miserably. All right. Then today I will do a good deed on behalf of the heavens, so that you won't harm other girls in the future. Then, Lu Yen squatted down and grabbed his collar. A dagger pierced into his neck, where the aorta was located. Then, she suddenly pulled out her knife. Fresh blood spurted out like a fountain. If an ordinary girl were to see this scene, she would have been scared out of her wits. Only Lu Yen could remain calm in such a bloody scene. She wiped her hands with a handkerchief after the killing. Looking at the map, they were still some distance away from the Netherworld mountain. The driver was dead, and there was no one else around. Lu Yen shrugged. She had to do it herself. Lu Yen threw the body of the taxi driver into a pond on the side of the road to avoid unnecessary trouble. Before she left, she sprinkled the corpse melting powder. In less than an hour, this scumbag would not even have a corpse left. Then she drove to a remote path at the foot of the Netherworld mountain. Then she pushed the taxi into a cliff and watched it turn into a ball of fire. Then, Lu Yen opened her umbrella and walked up the mountain along the path. Chapter 4769. There were 3 doors in Hades Mountain, 1 main door and 2 side doors. However, no matter which door it was, they were all set up with 8 trigrams. Ordinary people couldn't enter at all. Lu Yen chose the most remote door because she didn't want the surveillance cameras to record how she came in. She didn't want to attract attention either. She just wanted to break the array quietly, kill the target quietly and leave. Killing people was as easy as breathing for Lu Yen. Not to mention someone like Bai Chong who didn't know any martial arts, even a former SEAL Special Forces soldier would be killed by her. Of course, other than her agility and fighting skills, Lu Yen also had a genius mind. She didn't know if she inherited her father's talent or her mother's greatness. In short, Lu Yen could develop all kinds of bombs when she was a child. By the time she was 10 years old, she could already develop some complicated weapons. Many of the weapons in her arsenal had been modified by her to be more powerful. Therefore, when she looked through the target's information and knew that the young master of the Bai family was a weak young man, it was even easier. However, Lu Yen wasn't someone who would underestimate her enemy. Because of the 8 trigrams at the entrance, she felt that this trip might not be as simple as it seemed. Therefore, she didn't let Lai and Jinju come. Just as Lu Yen was thinking about this, she arrived at the 8 trigrams array at the side door in the blink of an eye. There were 9 old locust trees planted around this place, forming a round open space in the middle. At first glance, it looked quite ordinary, similar to the entrances of many scenic spots in China. However, Lu Yen wasn't careless. She turned on her watch and pulled out a virtual compass. Then she began the test. 6 seconds later, the virtual compass prompted. Lu Yen glanced at it and then smiled slightly. The Big Dipper array. Amazing. The Bai family even brought out a long-lost array. Really interesting. Lu Yen put away the compass and began to walk according to the steps to break the array. Although she was already familiar with the steps to break the array, she still walked carefully. Speaking of which, Lu Yen was quite knowledgeable, even though her father wasn't by her side when she was young. However, Lu Yen had taught herself a lot of things. She remembered that when she was 12 years old, she was interested in the 5 elements and 8 trigrams. Then she traveled all over Mount Wutai, Mount Zhihua, Zhongnan Mountain. Mount Emei, she had been looking for experts, wanting to learn a thing or two. Later on, Lu Yen quietly broke the Big Dipper array and became the first guest to successfully break the array and visit Hades Mountain. Inside the Hilltop Manor, young master, someone has barged in from the northeast side door. A lame man stood at the side and spoke to a man in a white robe. The man picked up a chess piece and gently pushed it forward. The man didn't say anything, nor did he react. It's a woman, a young woman. She broke our Big Dipper formation. Young master, do you want us to kill her now? Before Cripple could finish his words, the man in white waved his hand as if disagreeing with his suggestion. Young master, the person who broke into this place has a clear goal. You will be in danger. The man didn't say anything. He just continued to play chess quietly. After a game of chess, he waved his hand, indicating for the cripple to leave. Cripple had followed Bai Chong for 7 to 8 years, and the relationship between master and servant was very deep. Other than the fact that Bai Clan's young master didn't speak much and had a cold personality, everything else was very good. He was quiet, had a gentle appearance, and didn't cause trouble. He was never picky about food and accommodation. However, he didn't seem to have a good relationship with the old master. Of course, this might be the Bai clan's own secret history. The man was still sitting in the bamboo forest in front of the door, playing chess alone. When Lu Yen came in, the rain had stopped, but her Chong Sam was wet and she threw away her umbrella. Therefore, when she first met Bai Chong, his white robe fluttered, while Lu Yen was in a mess. Chapter 4770. Do you have wine? I'm a little cold. Lu Yen leaned against a thick piece of bamboo. She smiled at the man she met for the first time and asked for wine. The man in white froze for a moment before smiling. Then, he picked up a pot of wine that he hadn't drunk yet and tossed it to her. It was a wine pot made of leather. When Lu Yen took it, she felt that the leather was very soft. It should be high-quality deer leather. Lu Yen took the wine pot and sniffed it. Good wine. I didn't come here for nothing. After saying that, she raised the wine jug and began to gulp it down. Then, she casually finished the entire pot of wine. She didn't leave any for the owner. Bai Chong sat there less than 5 meters away from Lu Yen. He looked at the disheveled girl in a Chong Sam leaning against the bamboo forest and asking him for wine. Then, she didn't care if the wine was poisoned or not, she finished it in one gulp. This style of doing things was really strange. However, he liked it. This wine is really good. It's not available on the market. Did you make it yourself? She asked the man opposite her. The man nodded with a smile. Lu Yen suddenly remembered something and sighed. I forgot that you can't speak. The man didn't have any expression on his face. Instead, he pointed at the chessboard. He seemed to be asking Lu Yen if she wanted to play. Lu Yen glanced at the game in front of him. It was a chess game. She walked over with interest and sat down across from the man. Her long hair was still dripping with rain. Lu Yen looked down at the chessboard. The man took out a handkerchief from somewhere and raised his hand to help Lu Yen wipe the raindrops. Lu Yen didn't seem to feel anything. She didn't stop him or say anything. She just quietly watched the game. You set this up? The man nodded. If I break it, how will you reward me? Lu Yen looked into his eyes and smiled like a flower. Seeing Lu Yen smile, the man froze. Then, he raised his hand and made an eating gesture. Are you treating me to a meal? It's good. I like it. Then, Lu Yen picked up a chess piece and began to play the game with the man. The courtyard behind the man was filled with murderous intent. Cripple and 12 bodyguards were lying in ambush in the courtyard. Once they found out that this woman had any ulterior motives towards the young lord, they would immediately take action. If you look carefully, you will see that the lame man is holding an ancient bow and arrow, not a pistol. It could be seen that the Bai family was not a simple family. It only took Lu Yen 8 minutes to break Bai Shang's game. She even made a mistake in one of the steps, but she was rather shameless. When she realized that she had made a mistake, she immediately picked it up and started again. The man didn't know how to speak, so he didn't get angry and tell her that he had no regrets. Fortunately, Lu Yen really did break the trap. Since he was young, this was the first time someone had broken through his scheme. Bai Chong was very happy. He stood up and led Lu Yen inside. After taking a few steps, he suddenly thought of something and quickly turned around. He took off his white cloak and handed it to Lu Yen. "Thank you." Lu Yen spoke in sign language. She knew that people who couldn't speak all knew sign language. Seeing Lu Yan's gesture, the man smiled and didn't say anything. Then, the man led Lu Yen all the way to the courtyard where they were eating. The Bai family's servants had prepared a table full of delicious food. Lu Yen ate without a care in the world. Bai Shang sat across from her but didn't eat. "Why aren't you eating? Did you poison it?" Lu Yen asked him in sign language. Chapter 4771. Bai Chang smiled and picked up his chopsticks as if to prove that he didn't poison her. He even deliberately picked up a piece of braised pork from Lu Yan's bowl with his chopsticks and chewed it carefully. Lu Yan froze. This guy's style was unspeakably weird. It was Lu Yan's first time here to kill someone, but she drank his wine and ate his meat first. After eating and drinking to her heart's content, she sat across from Bai Chang and sighed slightly. There's a Chinese saying that goes, "If you take someone's gift, you'll be blinded." I've eaten your meat and drunk your wine. But do you know, I'm here today to ask you for something. The man didn't react to Lu Yan's words, but the corners of his mouth curved up slightly. Lu Yan continued to sigh. "Someone offered me a high price to take your organs. Are you willing to give them to me?" The man didn't seem surprised, as if he knew the woman's purpose. Just as she finished asking, the cripple appeared out of nowhere. He surrounded Lu Yen with 10 experts. Lu Yen glanced at those people and continued to sigh. "Your subordinates are no match for me. Do you believe that I can slaughter your entire manor alone?" Lu Yen asked Bai Chang the same question as if Bai Chang would answer her. "Young master, how is it? I told you, this woman's origin is unknown, and she broke our array, so she must be up to no good. You even entertained her with good food and drinks, but you don't know that she's a demoness who kills without batting an eye." Cripple hatefully said. Bai Chang still didn't speak. He slowly stood up. He turned around and took down another jar of wine from the wine cabinet. It was a very small, dark red jar. It was exquisitely made. He walked over with the wine jar and handed it to Lu Yen. "For me?" Lu Yen took it with a smile. Bai Chang nodded. "Do you think I won't kill you just because you gave me a gift and treated me to a meal?" Lu Yen asked directly. He smiled and didn't say anything. Then he took out a green jade flute from his long sleeve. Then he blew it at the bamboo forest not far away. At first, Lu Yen was quite cautious, thinking that it was some kind of hidden weapon. Or rather, there was something special about the flute sound. But after listening to a few lines, she realized that it was just a normal song. In fact, he didn't even sing it well. It was a very popular song from a Wuxia drama, The Laughter of the Vast Sea. Obviously, he had just learned it not long ago, so some of the notes were intermittent and not very coherent. Lu Yen didn't know what to feel. It's just killing someone. Why do you have to drag it out? Wasn't it just killing a mute who couldn't speak? Was there a need to feel sad? Lu Yen raised her hand lazily and stretched. Then he touched the steel wire lock on his back. This was something that could kill as soon as it saw blood. Although it looked like a thin and long thread, it could kill people without leaving a trace. Bai Shang, stop bragging. It doesn't sound good. She smiled and played with the wire lock with both hands. The man in white stopped playing the flute and smiled at Lu Yen. Bai Shang, someone offered me 500 million to buy your life. However, I heard that your family is very rich. Why don't you talk to your old man and give me 1 billion? I won't kill you, how about that? Before Bai Shang could speak, the cripple behind him was furious. Shameless boasting. Where did this ignorant girl come from? Do you think you can touch our young master alone? Then he shot an arrow at Lu Yen. This arrow carried a strong murderous aura. The black arrow flew towards Lu Yan's forehead mercilessly. Chapter 4772. In fact, even if the arrow rain was 10 times stronger than this, Lu Yen could still catch it with her bare hands. After all, her vision was as good as a top-notch sniper's. Even the slightest movement couldn't escape her eyes. However, she didn't expect that someone would block the cripple's fatal arrow for her. And she only remembered that in the blink of an eye, a white figure gracefully stood in front of her. He took the arrow rain head-on. Then he didn't even make a sound, nor did he fall to the ground. He just stood in front of her with his hands spread out. It was as if he was protecting her. "Young master, the cripple called out, "Young master," first. The bodyguards behind him were also stunned and cried out in pain. The cripple's arrow was 100% powerful, and it was meant to kill Lu Yen. However, this arrow was blocked by Bai Chang, and the scene became even more interesting. Lu Yen frowned slightly, her expression cold. "You brat, you're so young, but you're good at playing the trick of injuring yourself." When the cripple heard this, he was furious. He pointed at Lu Yan's nose and scolded, "You're so vicious. Not only are you not grateful that my young master blocked this fatal arrow for you, but you're even making sarcastic remarks here. What are you up to?" Lu Yen chuckled. "Let me correct you. He did block the arrow for me, but it wasn't a fatal arrow. With your mediocre skills, you really can't kill me." Lu Yan's arrogance was rare in the world. Someone once said that Su Yu was a man who wasn't afraid of anything and was extremely arrogant. He wanted to let the whole world know that he was the best. However, Su Yu's arrogance couldn't compare to Lu Yan's. Su Yu was flamboyant and high profile. Lu Yen, on the other hand, was arrogant with her unique skills and looked at everyone with disdain. In fact, she didn't even care about her own life. Therefore, every mission and every battle was as if her life was on the line. Therefore, no one could defeat Lu Yen like this. It was simply impossible. This was also why Ian cherished talent so much and didn't really want to kill Lu Yen. Instead, he wanted Lu Yen to be with him. It could even be said that he liked Lu Yen from the bottom of his heart. Who wouldn't love such a frivolous and beautiful woman? "I won't be merciful this time. Even if you die 100 times, it won't be enough." Hearing Lu Yan's words, the cripple was furious. He couldn't wait to tear her apart and skin her alive. Therefore, he prepared to continue shooting. However, the injured Bai Shang raised his hand and gave him a command to stop attacking. Cripple was indignant. He looked at the young master and said, "Young master, this woman wants your life. Why did you save her?" Lu Yen quietly watched Bai Chang talk to the cripple with sign language. His actions and silent words made Lu Yen feel a little uncomfortable. Bai Chang told his subordinates, "My life is worthless after all. Even if I die, it doesn't make a difference. You don't have to waste your energy to save me. After I die, you're not allowed to find trouble with this girl. After you send her down the mountain, inform my father of my death." "Young master, why are you doing this?" Cripple put down his weapon and rushed over. He supported Bai Shang, who was already on the verge of collapsing. His young master was indeed tired of the world. He had been living in seclusion since he was young and didn't contact the outside world. Every day was a dull and uninteresting life. Perhaps he really wanted to die? Seeing the man in white slowly fall, Cripple burst into tears. "Someone call an ambulance and send the young master down the mountain." Cripple roared hoarsely. With her arms crossed, Lu Yen stood on the side and watched quietly. Then she said, "The arrow hit the main blood vessels around his heart. He'll stop breathing in 5 minutes. It'll be too late for him to go to the operating table, let alone go down the mountain. He'll die for sure." Chapter 4773. The cripple was already furious, but when he heard Lu Yan's sarcastic words, he jumped up from the ground. Furious, he turned around and threw a right hook at Lu Yen. The cripple was tall and strong, and he looked like he had brute strength. Therefore, this punch was extremely fast, accurate, and ruthless. If it were someone else, he would have been knocked down with one punch. But he was facing Lu Yen, not someone else. She was a woman who even the world's #1 terrorist, Ian, had to be wary of. Lu Yen flashed past and grabbed the cripple's wrist. She counterattacked his armpit, but Lu Yen only used 30% of her strength. However, because the acupuncture point under his armpit was hit, the cripple felt half of his body go numb. He couldn't use any strength. "Someone, shoot this woman to death." The cripple fell to the ground and gave the order. The bodyguards behind him immediately took out their guns. Instantly, more than a dozen pistols were aimed at Lu Yan's head. Logically speaking, this atmosphere should be very tense. However, Lu Yan was still calm. She looked at the man in white lying on the ground and smiled. "Do you want me to save you? But it's very expensive for me to save people. I'll charge you 100 million yuan first. How about that?" Then, Lu Yan winked playfully at Bai Shang, who was on the verge of death. Bai Shang looked at Lu Yan's face and smiled. Then, he raised his hand with difficulty and replied with sign language, "Let's try. I do have some money. I can pay you." Hearing this, Lu Yan walked toward Bai Shang. Then, she said as she walked, "If you don't want your young master to become a corpse in 5 minutes, don't move. I'm going to save him." Then, Lu Yan pulled Bai Shang up from the ground. Her actions were very rough. The people around them felt their hearts skip a beat. The cripple was about to flare up, but when he saw Lu Yan's murderous gaze, he didn't dare to move. That girl wasn't an ordinary person. Just now, his punch missed and he was counterattacked in the next second. The cripple knew that she had attacked the acupuncture point under his armpit. This woman was not simple. Young master was right. She could easily break the Big Dipper formation that the Bai family had spent so much effort on. Then, she could break the chess game that young master had studied since he was young. In the face of so many guns, she was able to remain calm and even smile. This woman was definitely not simple. At this moment, Cripple had to admit that he'd underestimated this little girl. It was true that the young master had been shot by an arrow, and it was also true that his life was in danger. Just as she said, it might be too late to find a car to send her down the mountain to the hospital. Then why not let this woman have a try? When Lu Yan pulled Bai Shang up, she stuffed a pink pill into his mouth. Before anyone could react, Lu Yan dragged him into the house. Everyone was isolated outside. "I need half an hour for the surgery. No sound can disturb me, or your young master will die." That was what Lu Yan said before she entered the room. The most amazing thing was that no matter what this little girl said, they felt that they had to obey. Perhaps this was the charm of her personality. In the room, Lu Yan tossed Bai Shang onto the big bed. Then, she rudely took off his clothes, revealing his chest muscles. I'm not taking advantage of you. I'm going to operate on you." Lu Yan was actually quite embarrassed. After all, she was looking at his chest muscles. Bai Shang still had a bit of consciousness left. He smiled at Lu Yan. "I need half an hour. The anesthetic I just gave you should take effect soon, but you'll still feel pain. Don't be afraid. Although my technique isn't very good, I should be able to pull you back from the gates of hell." Then, before the man could speak, Lu Yan took out a sharp dagger from behind her and cut open the man's chest. Chapter 4774. Everyone knew that Lu Yan killed people without hesitation, but few knew that she could actually save people. She was the daughter of the genius Professor Lu and the medical Dr. Linya. She had all the talents that Huamin had. She also had the experience and courage that Huamin didn't have. In other words, if it weren't for the environment, Lu Yan would be a very, very good doctor. When she was on a mission in Africa, she passed by a plague village. The elderly and children there all caught an infectious disease and died one by one. Lu Yan pitied the children and saved them regardless of the risk of being infected. She even brought them back to the island and developed a serum to cure them. Later, the children grew up on the island. Lu Yan didn't teach them how to kill people. However, she gave them the most ordinary life. Therefore, Lu Yan was compassionate. At least, she wasn't like Ian, who killed people without any guilt. Ian killed for pleasure, just for the pleasure of slaughtering. Lu Yan was forced to kill people since she was young. If she didn't kill people, she would be killed. So, in the long river of time when she was hunted down, she learned a lot of skills. She soaked the dagger she used to operate on Bai Shang with disinfectant. The operation went smoothly. Lu Yan connected the ruptured blood vessels with her skillful hands. Then, she sewed them up with the thread she brought with her. Although it was half an hour, it was actually only 21 minutes. After Lu Yan sewed up the last thread, she leaned over to see if the man was awake. Bai Shang opened his eyes without warning, startling Lu Yan. She quickly looked away and looked up. The operation was good. You're very lucky. Bai Chang gestured a thank you with his hand. Lu Yan laughed. You took the bullet for me. Why are you thanking me? Bai Chang didn't say anything. Suddenly, he thought of something and gestured with his hand. Are you tired? Do you want some tea? Lu Yan shook her head helplessly. I don't know what to say about you. You're smart, but you act like an idiot. You're dumb, but you survived the conflicts between the Bai family and grew up safely. You have your own land, the Big Dipper, 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 Big Dipper to protect you. What kind of person are you? Before meeting Bai Chang, Lu Yan had read that he was an orphan of the Bai family. The eccentric orphan of the Bai family. After coming into contact with Bai Chang, he realized that Bai Chang wasn't as reclusive as the rumors said. He would even smile and entertain her warmly. He would even play a rather unpleasant flute for her, just like a little kid. None of this was an act. Although Lu Yan was young, she had traveled all over the world and met all kinds of people. If it was a disguise, she would have seen through it on sight. If Bai Chang was really such a scheming man, then she wouldn't have needed to go through so much trouble to save him. The problem was that this man wasn't. He didn't play by the rules. That arrow just now could not be faked. If Lu Yan wasn't here and didn't save him in time, he would have died within 5 minutes. For a man who didn't care about his own life, it must be painful for him to live, right? At this thought, Lu Yan felt pity for him in the depths of her heart. However, she would never show it on her face. You just saved me, so I'm going to give you 100 million yuan. Bai Chang gestured with his hand. Lu Yan chuckled. Yes, but 100 million yuan is just the down payment. You can pay the rest later. Then help me up first. Bai Chang gestured at Lu Yan as if he was going to get something. Hey, little mute, do you really have 100 million yuan in cash? Are you hiding it in the wall? Lu Yan guessed, amused. Chapter 4775. Bai Chang didn't answer her. Instead, he stood up weakly and walked toward the dark bookcase in the bedroom. Then, he wobbled as he picked up a huge vase. Pointing at the vase, he handed it to Lu Yan and signed, Can I pay off my debt? Lu Yan almost laughed out loud. Pointing at the vase, she asked, Blue and white porcelain? Bai Chang nodded, afraid that Lu Yan wouldn't believe him. He gestured with his hands and said, It was made at the end of the Ming dynasty. The current market price is more than 100 million yuan. Ha, you're really something. They all say that the Bai family is a treasure trove, but you can easily take out such a valuable item. No wonder you set up such a powerful array formation downstairs. Okay, this vase looks pretty, I'll take it. But it's too inconvenient to carry around. I'll find a buyer and sell it to you. So, I'll leave it with you for now. Don't lose it, okay? Lu Yan was joking. She was already a world-class tycoon. Money was just a number to her, so she wasn't as greedy as the rumors said. She asked Bai Chang for a deposit just to tease him. She didn't expect him to take it seriously and give her a big vase. Hearing Lu Yan's words, Bai Chang nodded solemnly and put the vase back carefully. He turned around and smiled brightly at Lu Yan. That smile was very warm. He shouldn't be someone who didn't know how to talk. Lu Yan suddenly felt sad. Then, she turned around and said, Hee, I didn't kill you. I failed the mission. What should I do? I've never failed in my career. Am I going to ruin my reputation this time? I can get a refund for the money I took, but I'll go down in history as a mercenary. Hearing this, Bai Chang was silent for 5 seconds. Then, he walked over and gestured with his hands, You can kill me and report to your boss. If I really wanted to kill you, why would I save you? Do you think I have nothing better to do? Lu Yan smiled. I know who wants to kill me. It should be my third uncle who gave you the money, Bai Chang said. Lu Yan was silent. Although she never asked for information about her buyers, this mission was in South America. The man was an important member of the Bai family. As for why the uncle wanted to kill his nephew, Lu Yan didn't know much about it. Seeing that Lu Yan didn't respond, Bai Chang continued, You can take me to see my third uncle and hand me over to him. That'll count as completing the mission. Didn't I say that if you give me double the price, I'll let you go? I'll even help you kill your third uncle. Lu Yan chuckled. Bai Chang shook his head. To me, there's no difference between life and death. Third uncle is different. He might love this world more than I do, so it's better for me to die. There's something wrong with your Bai family. One wants to kill his own nephew, and the other is willing to die. I say, you're your father's only son. If you die, who's going to take care of him? How can those illegitimate children compare to you, the son of the first wife? In the end, it was Lu Yan who was trying to persuade Bai Chang. The reversal of roles was shocking. Bai Chang stared into Lu Yan's eyes and suddenly asked in sign language, "Do you know why I like you?" After Lu Yan interpreted the sign language, her eyelids twitched. It was indeed her first time meeting Bai Chang. It was a bit abrupt to say that she liked him, but she also knew that this man didn't have to lie. Chapter 4776. Seeing that Lu Yan didn't speak, Bai Chang continued to sign. I've been locked up here since I was a child. I'm used to this enclosed world. Other than the bodyguards and the Bai family, no one can break in. My world is black and white. So your arrival today broke everything. You're the first outsider to come to my world. You're so beautiful. You walked under the tree with a smile, played chess with me, listened to me play the flute, and lit up my entire world. At that time I thought, even if you're here to kill me, I'm willing to die in your hands. Otherwise, even if I live in the future, it's no different from being dead. Thank you, little Lu. Different from others, most people called her Yen, and those who were close to her called her Yen. But Bai Chang called him little Lu, which made Lu Yan's heart ache a little. She couldn't describe her feelings, she just felt that the man in front of her was extremely pitiful. Why are you doing this? I'm here to kill you. Lu Yan turned her head and didn't look at Bai Chang's clear eyes. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe God sent you to relieve me, Bai Chang said. He clutched his chest. Although Lu Yan had done a delicate operation and the wound was small, Bai Chang still felt weak. Forget it. It's boring. This is probably the most boring mission I've done in years. The rain stopped. I'm leaving. Looking out the window, Lu Yan didn't want to stay any longer since the rain had stopped. She knew that she couldn't kill Bai Chang. Since she saved him, there was no reason for her to kill him again. So, according to the rules of the underworld, she had to return double the deposit to the buyer. So, not only did she not make any money from this deal, but she also lost a lot of money. Little Lu, seeing that Lu Yan was about to leave, Bai Chang opened his mouth. Although he didn't make a sound, he mouthed something. What? Lu Yan rolled her eyes and pretended to be very familiar with him. Can you eat before you leave? Bai Chang's eager eyes couldn't be faked. Lu Yan wanted to refuse, but in the end, she couldn't bear to. I'm very hungry. Hurry up and get someone to cook, she agreed. Seeing Lu Yan agree, Bai Chang was overjoyed. Ignoring his injuries, he pushed the door open and gave the order. Those subordinates saw that when their young master went in, he was already on the verge of death. Now, in less than an hour, when he came out, he was already glowing. He couldn't help but have a whole new level of respect for this woman. He thought to himself, how could this be a female assassin? This is Hua Tuo. Bai Chang was helped to the kitchen by Lu Yan. He prepared a table of dishes to entertain Lu Yan. Lu Yan walked out of the house to the bamboo forest and turned on the jammer. He blocked all the listening devices around him, then turned on his watch and dialed a number. Beep beep beep. After 3 seconds of ringing, a weathered voice answered the call. What is it, Yan? Dad, I have a professional question that I want to ask you. Go ahead. If a person wasn't born mute but was poisoned by someone, can they still be cured? Lu Yan asked. It depends on what kind of poison it is. His throat is purplish blue. I felt his pulse and found that it's extremely cold. He's been poisoned for a long time. I guess the poison is mixed with red fairy, Lu Yan said with a serious expression. She had noticed this detail when she was operating on Bai Chang. If you're sure it's red fairy, then it can be cured, the professor said. Lu Yan was delighted. How? The Qiao family has it. You can ask Fei for it, the professor said. Is it Xiao Fei's? Lu Yen was surprised but didn't say it out loud. Chapter 4777. Outsiders didn't know, but Lu Yen and her father did. The Qiao family was a Chinese-Russian arms manufacturer family. They lived in seclusion during World War II and had been in power for decades. Not only did they rely on the Qiao family's leadership, but they also had many secret weapons. The Qiao family had a medicinal wine that was said to be made with the bones of a rare white tiger from Siberia. Then, it was mixed with 49 rare herbs and was made with the Qiao family's own secret method. This wine had the effect of strengthening the body and bones. Only the direct family members could drink it once or twice a year. The professor's meaning was obvious. The tiger bone could suppress the red fairy's venom. If they could get the tiger bone wine, then Bai Shang's poison might be cured and he might be able to speak. Lu Yen wasn't a nosy person. In fact, whether Bai Shang could speak or not had nothing to do with her. But when she was in the operation, she was moved by compassion. So, she couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. She didn't expect to be asked. No matter what the Qiao family had, Xiao Fei would give it to her. But, was it worth it for her to do all this for a stranger? I got it. Then, Lu Yen was about to hang up. Yen. You're in China. The professor looked at the coordinates of the signal source and asked Lu Yen. She didn't deny it. Then, have you seen her? The professor's voice was trembling. Not yet. You didn't want me to go and cause trouble for her, right? Lu Yen was a bit lonely. She felt that she loved her sister very much. Although they had never met. Her sister didn't even know about her and her dad. But it didn't affect their love for her. She and her dad were in deep trouble and didn't want their sister to be like that. So, they would rather her be an ordinary person and live the most ordinary life. Don't go looking for her. She'll be like that for the rest of her life. It's good. We won't interfere. Then the professor hung up. Lu Yen felt a bit sad. She was probably the only person in the world who knew where her biological sister was but couldn't reunite with her. At this thought, Lu Yen turned around and strode into the house. Is dinner ready? I won't wait for you if it's late. She acted like a princess. Bai Chang hurriedly came out. His immortal-like white clothes were also stained with the smell of smoke and fire. Do you like to eat bacon? He asked her in sign language. Anything is fine, as long as it's food. Lu Yen smiled casually. Then I'll make you a plate of bacon. Just wait for me for a while. Then, the man went into the kitchen again. 15 minutes later, 8 dishes were served. These were typical Jiangnan-style side dishes. They were all stir-fried. There were also fresh river prawns and white fish from Mount Hades. These were all made by our young master himself. Our young master is very good at cooking. You're in luck, Cripple said with a cold face. Lu Yen didn't even look up. I worked so hard to pull him back from the gates of hell. Shouldn't he cook for me? You really don't know what's good for you. Our young master took the arrow for you. Cripple was angry again. But I didn't ask him to do that. Lu Yen shook her head like a child. She was so angry that Cripple was about to have a heart attack. He was about to say something when Bai Chang waved his hand. Cripple swallowed the rest of his words. During dinner, Lu Yen looked at Bai Chang in front of Cripple and asked, Mute, if I can cure your voice and let you speak again, how will you repay me? Chapter 4778. Bai Chang didn't expect Lu Yen to say that, so he froze for a second. Lu Yen teased him, You're not thinking of giving yourself to me, are you? How dare you? Don't be rude to our young master. The cripple spoke up for his master in excitement. Lu Yen didn't even look up as she said viciously, Don't worry. You're all disabled people here. You're either mute or cripple. I'm really not interested in you. Don't flatter yourself. Lu Yan's words made the cripple so angry that he wanted to pull out his gun. Fortunately, Bai Chang responded in time. He gestured with his hands, If you can really cure my disease, I'll give you anything you want. As long as you want it, I'll give it to you. Lu Yen nodded in satisfaction. She liked the little mute's genteel look. Bai Chang blushed slightly at the thought of Lu Yen asking him to give himself to her. However, he lowered his head as if he was afraid that others would see him. The Jiangnan dishes were delicious, but Lu Yen wasn't used to them. Maybe it was because she went to the north a lot and liked the salty and spicy dishes. So, she only ate a little and was about to go down the mountain. Let's go. I won't stay here anymore after I'm full. Lu Yen waved her hand and stood up. The rain had stopped, but the mountain path was still muddy and difficult to walk on. After the rain, there would be cold wind blowing in the mountain. Bai Chang didn't say anything. He turned around and went into the house to take out his cloak. It was white but thicker. Lu Yen was wearing a seductive cheongsam. She looked sexy and disheveled, not suitable for this kind of weather. Lu Yen didn't refuse the cheongsam he handed over. "Okay, I'll take it. Prepare your treasures. When I come back with the antidote, take out all your treasures. Otherwise, you won't be able to thank me enough for helping you get the antidote. I dare say that if it wasn't for me, no one in the world would be able to get the antidote," Lu Yen said proudly. Bai Chang only smiled slightly, but he didn't say anything. Just when everyone thought the girl was going to show off, Lu Yen flashed and disappeared into the mountain path. The cripple froze and was shocked. Good kung fu. Yes, it had been a long time since he saw someone move as nimbly as a swallow. He originally thought that the little lass only knew some martial arts, but he didn't expect that it would really be an eye-opener for him. A long time after Lu Yen left, Bai Chang stood in the yard and watched her disappear into the mountain path, unwilling to leave. "Young master, the weather has changed. It might rain soon. Let's go in," Cripple advised. Bai Chang remained motionless. Although he couldn't speak, his ears were sharp. Cripple knew that he didn't want to return. "Young master, forgive me for being blunt, but that little girl's words can't be trusted. She's probably bragging. The antidote that you need, old master has been spending a lot of money all these years. The Siberian white tiger is already extinct. Other than the Russian Xiao family who has a stock of tiger bone wine, no one else has it. Who do you think the Russian Xiao family is? Old master spent so much money and looked for so many people, but they couldn't get it. How could a little girl like her get it? So, let's not treat it seriously." The cripple's analysis made sense. Bai Chang's father knew what kind of poison his son had and what antidote he needed. However, over the years, he had used all kinds of methods but still couldn't get it. The last Siberian white tiger wine in the world was in the Qiao family. But was the Qiao family so easy to mess with? Chapter 4779. The old master of the Bai family once offered 1 billion yuan to buy it from the Qiao family, but he was rejected. The Qiao family even said that they wouldn't sell it even if it was 10 billion yuan. Some people who were close to the Bai family even suggested hiring mercenaries to enter Russia to rob it. However, those people died before they could enter the country. From then on, the Bai family didn't dare to provoke the Qiao family anymore. Bai Chang's poison was also incurable. He was already disgusted with the world and was used to not being able to speak, so he didn't feel regretful. However, when Lu Yen barged into his silent world today, his heart seemed to come back to life. Not only did Bai Chang study in elementary school, but he also developed his own hacking skills. So, he knew Lu Yen. So, when no one in the courtyard knew who Lu Yen was, only Bai Chang called her Little Lu. Bai Chang had heard about the relationship between the Qiao family and Lu Yen. Therefore, if anyone other than the Qiao family could get the diluted and precious tiger bone wine, then this person could only be Lu Yen. That was why Bai Chang was looking forward to it. Bai Chang wasn't looking forward to Lu Yen bringing back the antidote to cure his throat. Instead, he was looking forward to seeing Lu Yen again soon. In the evening, Lu Yen was already on a private jet heading to Russia. "Boss, the steak is ready. Are you very familiar with it?" Lu Yen asked mischievously. Yes. "It's very hot. I'm sure it's very familiar," Alai said with a smile. This time, Lu Yen only brought Alai and Jinju. Jinju wasn't good at talking, so Alai was the one who livened up the atmosphere. This kid was good at cooking, so Lu Yen could eat whatever she wanted. Taking the slightly charred steak, Lu Yen cut a small piece with satisfaction. Before she could eat, a message appeared on her watch. It showed that she had an extra sum of money in a Swiss bank account. The money was as high as 1 billion yuan. Boss, you're rich? Didn't you say that the mission failed? Why is there so much money? Alai glanced at it. In fact, he was already used to it. The money in his boss's account was basically just numbers. It wasn't a number that normal people were used to. It's not from the employer. Lu Yen seemed to know who sent it. If it's not the employer, then we have a new job? Alai scratched the back of his head. Why do you have so much crap to say? Seeing that his boss was angry, Alai immediately shut up and left. Lu Yen took a small bite of the steak and opened the virtual computer program on her watch. What was missing was the information on the auction house. As expected, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, an antique belonging to the Bai family was auctioned off at a well-known auction house in the country. It was a fine jade guanyin from the Tang dynasty. He didn't need to check to know that the seller was Bai Chang. She was just joking. In fact, she was not short of money. She was already very rich. However, Bai Chang still transferred the money to her. He didn't break his promise. After all, Lu Yen had let him go, and she had to pay for it. In this way, the debt was even. Lu Yen wasn't a charity and didn't need to spend her own money to help others. At this thought, Lu Yen shook her head and smiled. This little mute is quite sensible. Then, Lu Yen finished the steak like a whirlwind and leaned lazily on the sofa with her legs crossed. Then, he dialed a familiar number, Yen. Xiao Fei's gentle voice came from the other end. Chapter 4780. Honey, I'm about to arrive in Russia. Are you surprised? Lu Yen was different from her usual self. She actually called Xiao Fei honey. Logically speaking, Xiao Fei should be happy and flattered by her enthusiasm. But Xiao Fei, on the other hand, felt uneasy. Are you being hunted down again and have nowhere to go? Are you hiding at my house? No, it's been peaceful outside recently. Then did you lose money in Las Vegas? Can you jinx it anymore? When have I not returned with a full load? Lu Yen almost laughed out of anger. There must be something wrong. You're so enthusiastic. It must be something bad. Why don't you come, just return, Lu Yen, damn it. Try not to come out and pick me up. Anyway, we'll land in 2 hours. I have to see you at the airport, and I have to be holding my favorite Russian bread. Then, Lu Yen hung up the phone. On the other end of the phone, Xiao Fei reached out and touched his silver hair. Then he smiled gently, and he stood up and walked out of his mysterious private contractor. Young Master Xiao, are you going out? If you need anything, just tell me. I'm going to buy bread, Xiao Fei said. It's just a small matter. Leave it to me, no need. The people around Xiao Fei also served him carefully. Everyone knew that in the entire Xiao family, the patriarch doted on this third young master the most. Although he had a fiancée who gave the whole world a headache, it still couldn't stop everyone from liking the third young master. Xiao Fei was the kind of person who lived in a two-dimensional world. Silver hair, Russian military uniform, and a cold personality. He was the epitome of true love in the hearts of young girls. However, such an outstanding person was always at Lu Yan's beck and call. She didn't take her fiancé seriously at all. In Professor Lu's words, Yen would always think of Fei when she was in trouble. So, without a doubt, she didn't come this time because she missed him. She must be in trouble. However, in Xiao Fei's opinion, it didn't matter. As long as Lu Yen came to see him, no matter what the reason was, he was happy. In fact, Lu Yen didn't like entering Russia at all. Over the years, the number of times she had entered the country could be counted on one hand. Even then, she had gone to Spain to watch football matches. 2 hours later, Lu Yan's private jet landed. Due to the low temperature in Russia all year round, there weren't many opportunities to wear sexy gowns. Therefore, Lu Yen only wore a black windbreaker, which was her standard outfit. She was wearing small boots with square heels, and her long hair was let down. She wore a black beret on her head and carried a luxurious red bag in her hand. Lu Yen was dressed like a socialite. It attracted a lot of attention. She was actually the best at disguising herself. She always looked harmless, but it always gave people a terrifying taste. As soon as she walked out of the airport, she saw Xiao Fei standing in front of a black Mercedes-Benz RV with a big loaf of bread in his arms. Lu Yan chuckled. Then, he dashed over and snatched the bread. Without caring about her image, she went up and took a bite. Yummy, it still tastes the same. Why are you closer to bread than to me? Xiao Fei was a little jealous. I can eat bread, but can you? Lu Yan retorted. Chapter 4781. It's not like you haven't tasted it before. Xiao Fei's words made Lu Yan's subordinate blush. He thought to himself that his boss had already been punished by young Master Xiao on the spot. Bullshit. Don't talk nonsense. Russia is so cold. Hurry up and help me into the car. Seeing Xiao Fei acting like a pervert, Lu Yan didn't want to continue arguing with him. She hugged the bread tightly and got into the RV. Lu Yan was treated like a queen in Russia. Young Master Xiao helped her into the car personally. Of course, this was only special treatment for Lu Yan. After all, Xiao Fei liked her. He had liked her since he was young. After entering the RV, Lu Yan's subordinate ran to the front row and closed the door. He gave the two people on the sofa a private space. Lu Yan took off her windbreaker in front of Xiao Fei. Inside, she only wore a simple white short-sleeved shirt. Before Xiao Fei could say anything, she began to eat the bread. Yeah. Did you really come here because you miss me? Why else? What do you want? Just tell me. Otherwise, I'll be worried. Xiao Fei was on tenterhooks. Lu Yan put down the bread and laughed. You're afraid that I'll cause trouble and want to help me clean up the mess, right? Xiao Fei nodded obediently. When Lu Yan came to Russia before, the Xiao family welcomed her warmly, thinking that she would be their future daughter-in-law. Later, they found that every time Lu Yan came, Moscow would be in chaos. It was a headache. So, gradually, everyone knew that Lu Yan wouldn't come for no reason. She would definitely cause trouble if she came. In the words of the elders of the Xiao family, Lu Yan, this little girl, caused chaos wherever she went. So, such a troublemaker was no longer welcomed. Of course, only Xiao Fei liked it. Even if Lu Yan didn't come, Xiao Fei was going to look for her. If they didn't see each other for a month or two, young Master Xiao would feel uneasy as if something was missing. Hearing Xiao Fei's words, Lu Yan smiled. Then she patted his shoulder. Honey, don't be afraid. This time, I won't fight or cause trouble. Now that you mention it, I'm even more scared. Xiao Fei didn't believe that she would be so obedient. It's true. Actually, I'm only here to ask you for something. It's very simple. I won't hurt anyone or cause trouble. Hearing Lu Yan's request, Xiao Fei felt even more uneasy. What could I possibly have that you, Queen Lu, would fancy? Xiao Fei was right. Lu Yan had money, manpower, and even the most powerful weapons of the Xiao family. Lu Yan had them too. She could even develop and modify them herself, so she didn't care about the firearms they were selling. Therefore, Xiao Fei still had a vague sense of foreboding. Lu Yan licked her lips and put her arms around his neck with a seductive smile. You're trying to seduce us, aren't you? Although he pretended to be calm, Xiao Fei's heart was thumping wildly. After all, Lu Yan rarely acted like a spoiled child in front of him. It seemed like she really needed his help this time. Fei, I need a cup of your Xiao family's secret tiger bone wine. Lu Yan purposely lowered her voice because she didn't want others to hear. After all, if this wasn't done well, it would cause a dispute within the Xiao family and put Xiao Fei in an awkward position. As expected, Xiao Fei's expression changed when he heard that she wanted tiger bone wine. Why do you need tiger bone wine? Are you poisoned? Then, Xiao Fei couldn't wait to check Lu Yan's pulse. Chapter 4782. It's not me, it's a friend of mine, Lu Yan said directly. That won't do. Lu Yan didn't give him face and refused directly. Hey, why are you so unreasonable? We've been friends for so many years, but you think a glass of wine is worth more than our friendship? Lu Yan pouted. Xiao Fei looked at her with a complicated expression. Yan, let me put it this way. If you were the one who got poisoned today, I'd get you a glass of wine even if I had to betray my family and go against my family. But other than you, I wouldn't touch the tiger bone wine. You're so stingy. Lu Yen pretended to be angry. She turned her head and crossed her arms over her chest. Seeing Lu Yen angry, Xiao Fei's heart ached. He turned her over and patiently explained, "Little Yen, you're the most well-informed. You should know that the Siberian tiger is extinct here. It's a rare animal, so it's impossible for anyone in the world to recreate tiger bone wine." "But your Xiao family has some in stock," Lu Yen retorted. Xiao Fei nodded. "Our Xiao family has some in stock, but we've used a lot over the years. In the past, I could still drink a little during the Qing festival, but now my father has made a rule that even the men in the Xiao family can only drink it once every 3 years. Usually, it's kept in our family's secret room, guarded by guards. Only my father can enter the secret room. It's just some lousy wine. Do you have to go through so much trouble? That's because the tiger bone wine can cure 36 deadly poisons. It can also improve blood circulation, remove blood stasis, and prolong life. It even has the effect of curing early-stage cancer cells. Over the years, my father has only given 1 glass of wine to an outsider, and that outsider was the former president of Russia. So, Yen, how do you think I can give such an important thing to your friend? Give me a reason." Xiao Fei explained patiently, afraid that Lu Yen would be angry. With Lu Yan's short temper, once she got angry, she would fly away. Wouldn't that be a loss? She had just arrived and hadn't even warmed up her seat. Hearing this, Lu Yen took out a check from her bag and waved it elegantly. "This is 1 billion yuan from an international bank. You can withdraw it at any time. Can I use 1 billion yuan to buy a cup from your Xiao family?" Xiao Fei smiled bitterly. "If we could sell it, we would have run out of stock a long time ago. 2 years ago, a prince from a rich country in the Middle East was seriously ill and needed tiger bone wine to prolong his life. His father offered $10 billion US. Lu Yen was slightly surprised. It turned out that someone was really generous. How much was $10 billion? That's more than 60 billion renminbi? But my father refused. Later, they sent mercenaries into the country to steal it. We even had a fierce battle. From then on, our families became enemies. If it were you, you might say, isn't it just a glass of wine? Just sell it to him. But there are so many people in the world. If you buy it and he buys it, how much will we have left in the end? What will we do when our families need it? Waiting for death?" Upon hearing this, Lu Yen fell silent. What he said made sense, and Lu Yen understood it too well. In the face of life and death and health, money was nothing but a pile of white paper. "But I really want a glass of wine. I want to help my friend." Lu Yen leaned on his shoulder. This time, she wasn't seducing him. She truly felt that Xiao Fei was in a difficult position. However, she didn't want to come here empty-handed. Thinking of the man who couldn't speak, Lu Yen still hoped that she could cure him and see him speak. Chapter 4783. The friend you're talking about is the young master of the Bai family, right? To her surprise, Xiao Fei guessed right. "You did a background check on me?" Lu Yen looked up at Xiao Fei, her face calm and unreadable. Xiao Fei put his arm around Lu Yan's waist. "Of course I did. Didn't you go to China to carry out a mission? Every time you accept a mission, I know about it. Seeing that you didn't kill your target, but instead came to me for tiger bone wine, I know that you're helping Bai Shang. Furthermore, his father once tried to buy it from me 10 years ago, but was rejected by my father. I know it's hard to get or else I wouldn't have come to you, right? Fei, you won't let me come here for nothing, right?" Xiao Fei didn't speak. He just looked at Lu Yen quietly for 5 seconds. "Yen, if Bai Shang and I both needed the last glass of wine, who would you give it to?" This guy didn't look like he was joking. Lu Yen chuckled. "Damn it. Are you jealous? If I asked you for your most precious thing in order to save a woman, what would you think? I'd chop you into pieces and throw you into the toilet. What else would I think?" Lu Yen answered without hesitation. Xiao Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Okay, Let's not talk about these gloomy things. You rarely come to Moscow. I'll take you home and let you rest. Take a hot shower and eat something. Xiao Fei didn't want to argue with Lu Yen about the tiger bone wine and Baishang. Xiao Fei wasn't an unconfident person. He knew that in a critical moment, all men were less important than her in Lu Yan's eyes. That was why he was the only one who knew all of Lu Yan's family secrets. Only he and the professor had been to Lu Yan's headquarters. He knew all of Lu Yan's subordinates and all of her savings. However, hearing that Lu Yan asked for tiger bone wine for a guy she didn't know, he couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. Lu Yan was smart. Seeing that Xiao Fei didn't want to talk about it, she didn't press him. Instead, she smiled lightly. Okay, I'm smelly from the plane. I need to take a shower. The Mercedes-Benz RV escorted them to Xiao Fei's private castle. Lu Yan rushed into the luxurious bathroom and took a bath. When she came out, the housekeeper had prepared a new dress for her. It was a very pink princess dress, a classic retro Russian palace dress. Lu Yan looked like a rich lady from the 19th century. Xiao Fei had no taste when it came to dressing women up, but it wasn't his fault. After all, after his mother passed away, he never got close to women. After changing, Lu Yan walked into the living room. I'm hungry. I want to eat Russian skewers. Lu Yan ordered. Xiao Fei stood up. My father just sent someone to invite you to dinner. Can I not go? She felt bored when she heard that she was going to eat with a bunch of old men. Xiao Fei's father was an elder, and he couldn't go against him. If he didn't go, he wouldn't be giving him face. If you really don't want to go, I'll reject it for you. I'll take you out to eat. Xiao Fei didn't want to make things difficult for his sweetheart. If she really didn't want to, he would reject his father. Then your dad will be furious. Lu Yan licked her lips. It's better for my dad to be angry than my wife. Xiao Fei understood the situation very well. Lu Yan smiled slightly. Forget it. It's not easy for your dad at his age. If he loses face because of me, he'll be laughed at. After all, your dad is a famous arms dealer in Asia. Oh, your annoying second brother isn't home, right? I don't want to see him. The second brother Lu Yan was talking about was Xiao Nan. Chapter 4784. After hearing Lu Yan's words, Xiao Fei replied calmly, Unfortunately, he's here. The word, fuck, came out of her mouth, and the rest of the words came from Lu Yan's mind. Xiao Nan was the most influential man in the Qiao family. He was despicable and cunning. He did things by hook or by crook, and the outside world had always thought that he was the most suitable heir to take over the Qiao family business. After all, Xiao Fei's older brother, Xiao Mo, was cold and rarely asked about family matters. Xiao Fei didn't care about anything outside. Other than Lu Yan, he didn't care about anyone else. Therefore, Xiao Nan had become more and more high-profile in the past few years. In northern terms, he was too arrogant. Lu Yan had met Xiao Nan a few times, and it was a bad influence on the man. Of course, Lu Yan hated Xiao Nan more because of Xiao Fei. Xiao Nan had schemed against Xiao Fei more than once. Xiao Fei wasn't stupid. He just didn't want to fight with him and felt bored. Why are you afraid of him? Eat your food, Xiao Fei persuaded. Lu Yan immediately rolled her eyes. Afraid of him? You really think too highly of him. I, Lu Yan, am afraid of him. I don't even care about Ian. Your second brother is nothing. Then let's go. If we're late, those old men will nag again. It's so annoying. Xiao Fei hated those old men in the family who stuck to the old rules. They were called the elders of the Qiao family and the family head's confidants. In fact, it was already outdated. Other than his father who listened to them, in Xiao Fei's generation, none of the three brothers were willing to interact with the elders. Lu Yan could have refused such a dinner, but she didn't want to embarrass Xiao Fei's father. She braced herself and went, wearing the palace dress that Xiao Fei had prepared for her. She carried a small bag in her hand. At first glance, she looked like a top Russian socialite. But this wasn't Lu Yan's real face. When they arrived at the restaurant, Lu Yan held Xiao Fei's arm and walked in, giving young Master Qiao enough face. The two of them attracted everyone's attention as soon as they entered. Young Master Qiao, Miss Lu. Those people greeted them one after another. When they were near the seats, Lu Yan smiled slightly and said to Qiao Fei's father, Uncle Qiao. Xiao Yan, long time no see. How have you been? Qiao Fei's father greeted her with a smile. Yes, very good. Take a seat. You must be tired and hungry from the long journey. Let's eat first. His father waved his hand, and Qiao Fei and Lu Yan sat down. Sitting on both sides were the 13 elders and Qiao Fei's second brother, Qiao Nan. There was also a woman sitting beside Qiao Fei's father. She looked to be in her 30s. Her appearance was not very beautiful, but her temperament was very good. She was fair and delicate. Lu Yan guessed that she was Qiao Fei's father's confidant. For the sake of the three brothers, she was not given an official status, but it was said that she had been with old Master Qiao for a while. Little sister Yan, why didn't you tell me you were coming to Russia? I could have picked you up personally, said Xiao Nan. There was a playful smile on his face. As soon as he finished speaking, Qiao Fei shot him a cold glare. Lu Yan chuckled. If I knew you were at home, I wouldn't have come even if I had the money. Pa, do you have to be so direct? You don't give me any face at all. Xiao Nan laughed frankly. Why should I give you face? After all, I hate you so much. Lu Yan was still smiling when she said this. Although that scene could be said to be cheerful and witty, it was also extremely awkward. Qiao Fei's father coughed lightly. Chapter 4785. She interrupted Xiao Nan, not giving him a chance to continue teasing her. Yan, how's your father doing? Very well. Is he still in the States? To be honest, Uncle Qiao, I don't know where my father is. I haven't contacted him for a while. You know we're both very busy. Lu Yan didn't like to reveal her father's whereabouts to anyone. After all, she might bring danger to her father if she wasn't careful. Qiao Fei's father was asking this in front of so many people, so Lu Yan didn't feel comfortable. But after all, he was an elder, so she played with him. Qiao Fei understood Lu Yan's meaning and didn't want his father to continue asking. So he interrupted, Dad, it's time to serve the dishes. Yan's hungry. Serve the dishes. Old Xiao cared about Qiao Fei's words and immediately ordered the servants to serve the dishes one after another. It wasn't a Russian meal. After all, they were all Chinese, so it was Chinese. There were more than 30 dishes on the long table. The dishes looked exquisite and should taste good, but Lu Yan didn't seem to have an appetite. What's wrong? You don't like it? Qiao Fei whispered in Lu Yan's ear. Maybe I'm full from the bread, Lu Yan said. Qiao Fei was exasperated. Can you be more mature? Lu Yan stuck out her tongue and made a face at Qiao Fei. In other people's eyes, they were flirting, but Xiao Nan, who was sitting across from them, felt stifled. He had never been convinced. When Professor Lu brought Lu Yan to the Qiao family for the first time, all three of them were present. In terms of looks, Qiao Fei wasn't as handsome as his older brother, Qiao Mo. It was said that Qiao Mo's looks made many princesses, socialites, and movie stars in Europe drool. In terms of talent, intelligence, and tactics, Qiao Nan thought Qiao Fei was inferior to him. So the question was, why did Lu Yan fall for him? At that time, he was even more eager to get close to Lu Yan than Xiao Nan. He was nice to her and chased after her. His third brother, Qiao Fei, was indifferent and didn't say anything, but Lu Yan chose him. The whole world knew that Lu Yan and Xiao Fei were engaged when they were children. It was a lie to say that Xiao Nan loved Lu Yan. He wanted to get Lu Yan because of Professor Lu's power and Lu Yan's power. First of all, Lu Yan was extremely wealthy. Just the money in a few Swiss bank accounts, if taken out, would easily surpass those on the Forbes list. In fact, Lu Yan's spies, subordinates, and equipment were all top-notch. Even sending an army to attack Lu Yan's base would take a lot of effort. Moreover, Lu Yan was said to be a genius in scientific research. She could create all kinds of powerful explosives and purify opium poppies. That was a high-tech technology that even the Golden Triangle research team could not develop. Therefore, whoever had Lu Yan would have everything. In the past, Qiao Nan's ambition was to snatch the Qiao family patriarch's position. But later on, this could no longer satisfy his ambition. After all, he wanted to be like Ian, to dominate the Darkness Empire and make a name for himself in the world. Lu Yin didn't eat much and only drank a few mouthfuls of champagne. During the banquet, an elderly elder mustered up his courage and suddenly said, "Miss Lu, since you're our third young master's fiancée, you're not an outsider. There are some things that I'll be frank with you. Recently, we have a batch of firearms in our hands, but because of the large quantity and the large amount of money, we haven't been able to find a suitable buyer. I heard that Miss Lu has a lot of connections. Can you help us pull some strings so that this batch of goods won't cause our internal funds to run out?" Chapter 4786. As soon as the elder finished speaking, the entire place fell silent. Xiao Fei's father didn't have much of an expression on his face, nor did he have any intention of stopping the elder. Obviously, he knew about it. Perhaps he was the one who told the elder to say it. Otherwise, the elder wouldn't have dared to say it. Xiao Fei's eyes gradually turned cold. "Our family's business has nothing to do with yen," Xiao Fei said coldly. "Third young master, I said that Miss Lu will be one of us from now on. We can also call her a young lady. So, our business is her business. I've heard that Miss Lu is very resourceful, has a lot of connections, and has a lot of connections. This small favor shouldn't be a big deal." That elder must have really drunk a lot, so he dared to talk back to Xiao Fei. Xiao Nan was amused when he heard this. Elder Qi is right. Since we're family, we should help. We can't just sit back and watch our goods not leave. At this moment, everyone looked at Lu Yen, who was silent. Lu Yen wasn't in a hurry to answer. She just slowly sipped on the champagne. She even commented, "I've never liked champagne. I always think it's not as good as red wine. But your Russian champagne is different. The taste is strong, which suits my personality. When I leave, I want to take a box with me. Fei, are you willing to give it to me?" Lu Yen tilted her head and looked at Xiao Fei coquettishly. Xiao Fei's eyes immediately softened. "Is 10 boxes enough?" Yes. You're the best." Lu Yen held Xiao Fei's face with both hands, showing off their love like a young couple. She didn't even look at the people around her as if they were decorations. Xiao Fei felt very guilty, feeling like he had been set up. If he had known that something like this would happen, even if his father was angry, he wouldn't have brought Yen here. He was sincere to Lu Yen. Even if she wasn't the king of mercenaries or the second young mistress, he would still love her to the point of death. So, when he saw his family use Lu Yen and put her in an embarrassing position, Xiao Fei felt a faint anger rising in his heart. He planned to take Lu Yen away without waiting for her to agree. Thinking this, he took Lu Yen's hand. "Yen, let's go." His voice wasn't loud, and only Lu Yen could hear it. Lu Yen pushed his hand away with a smile. Then he slowly got up and looked around. Finally, his eyes fell on Xiao Fei's father. "Uncle Xiao, it's true that I'm Fei's fiancée, but I'm also a businesswoman. I don't do business at a loss. If you want to sell firearms, sure, I'll help you sell as many as you have. I have people who buy from all the warring countries. Syria, Palestine. I can help you sell them all at a high price. I've said it before, I'm a businesswoman, and even blood brothers have to settle accounts clearly. If you're willing to pay, I'll take this deal." Everyone was dumbfounded by Lu Yan's words. They didn't expect this little girl to be so daring. She worked for her future in-laws and still wanted to extort them. She was really brave. Xiao Fei's father was a big shot. After hearing Lu Yan's words, he only smiled and said, "Of course, even if we're family, we can't use them for free. Yen, just name a price. You don't have to sell all of them for me, just this batch will do." Originally, the Tea government ordered them and even paid the deposit, but due to the political situation, they didn't dare to take the goods. "If they leave it with me, I won't be able to live peacefully. It's better to sell them early. The market price is $26 billion. Then I'll sell them for $300. Not only will you not lose money, but you'll also earn some money for tea." Lu Yen was very generous. Yen, don't agree. Seeing Lu Yen being forced to sell the goods, Xiao Fei didn't feel good and wanted to stop her. "Okay, Yen, How much do you want for your commission? Name a price. Xiao Fei's father was also very happy. He thought that with the relationship between Lu Yen and Xiao Fei, even if she wanted a commission, she wouldn't ask for too much. 5 seconds later, Lu Yen said something that shocked everyone. She said, "Uncle Xiao, I don't want money. I just want a cup of your Xiao family's tiger bone wine." Chapter 4787. Upon hearing the tiger bone wine, everyone's expression changed, including Xiao Fei's father's. Of course, Lu Yen knew the consequences of her words. But who was Lu Yen? She wasn't even afraid of Ian. Why would she be afraid of these people? Xiao Nan was the first to speak. He laughed. "Yen, you're good at doing business. Do you know that my father couldn't even sell 1 cup of tiger bone wine for 10 billion? Now that you're asking for a cup, it's no different from asking for 10 billion. Your commission is too high, we can't afford it. It's almost more expensive than our weapons." Xiao Nan's tone was mocking, but it was true. Even if the Xiao family couldn't produce the goods, they couldn't give Lu Yen a commission of 10 billion. If they did, they would lose everything. Lu Yen chuckled and replied, "But I don't want 10 billion, I just want a cup of wine." Then, Lu Yen didn't forget to add, "Plus, I'm not asking for it for free. I have work to do. It's not like I'm asking for it, right?" One couldn't hit a smiling person. If someone else had said this, the Qiao family's old man would have been furious. What was tiger bone wine? It was something that couldn't be bought with money. But Lu Yen had always been a strange child. The old man knew a little about her, so he wasn't angry. He simply said, "Thank you for your kindness, Yen. We won't trouble you with that batch of goods." What did he mean? She didn't need to pay for the goods, and she couldn't ask for the tiger bone wine. She didn't say anything. Lu Yen smiled and didn't refute. After all, she was giving Xiao Fei face. So, although the meal was full of tension, Lu Yen didn't lose her temper. After the meal, Lu Yen said she was sleepy. Xiao Fei carried her out of the restaurant and returned to the private manor. Seeing that Xiao Fei was so obedient to Lu Yen, the elders had many objections. "Mr. Family Head, the third young master is so obedient to that girl. This isn't a good thing." "Yeah, Mr. Family Head, I think that girl is very strange. Let the third young master find another fiancée. She's really not suitable for our Qiao family. Lu Yan's character really needs to be tested." She asked for a commission just to help her fiancé's family and asked for tiger bone wine. "We can't afford to offend this girl." After Xiao Fei left, everyone started talking at once, but they all came to the same conclusion. Xiao Fei was too good to him. He was almost obedient. Xiao Fei had never been so obedient to his father since he was a child. But he was so nice to Lu Yen. Everyone thought he had been brainwashed. This time, Lu Yen really didn't do the right thing. She asked for the tiger bone wine in front of so many people, which made the whole Qiao family object. There were even some elders who directly said that the third young master was not suitable for the position of successor. He did not have the demeanor of a king. Of course, Xiao Nan was most willing to listen to these words. He was determined to become the clan leader. However, old Master Qiao was biased towards his third son. This was obvious to all. It was said that Xiao Fei resembled the late Madame Qiao the most. Although the old man was pregnant with a confidant, he still missed his late wife. Therefore, when facing her youngest son, it was inevitable that she would feel some pity for him. "Okay, you all can go back. Don't mention this again." Finally, old Master Qiao waved his hand and dismissed everyone. On the way back, Lu Yen was supported by Xiao Fei. After a few steps, she began to find fault with him. "The ground in Russia is too uneven. My feet hurt, that's why I'm carrying you." Xiao Fei smiled gently. "No, it's too bumpy to carry. You should carry me. Come here and squat down." Lu Yen pointed at the ground and ordered domineeringly. Chapter 4788. Xiao Fei sighed slightly. He never knew what to do with her. She knew that the moment they stepped out of the door, those old men would definitely say bad things about her. But she was still so brazen, as if she was deliberately going against them. But Xiao Fei doted on her. Xiao Fei walked up to Lu Yen and squatted down. Lu Yen jumped forward and lay on Xiao Fei's back. Then he carried her on his back. "Your Majesty, sit tight." Lu Yen smiled brightly. Lying on Xiao Fei's broad back, she fell asleep. Perhaps only by Xiao Fei's side could Lu Yen sleep soundly and peacefully. Perhaps no one knew how many years she hadn't slept well. When she had just left her father when she was young, she had to sleep under the bed to avoid being hunted. At that time, because she was too young, she was often targeted by human traffickers and perverted pedophiles. In other words, other than the people who wanted to kidnap and kill her, Lu Yen also had to avoid the darkest group of people in the world. She had never told anyone about her childhood. Her life wasn't easy, because she knew that this was her life. No matter how difficult it was, she still made it through. Later, when she established the mercenary group, some of Lu Yan's subordinates who knew her well often felt sorry for their boss. She was a light sleeper. As long as there was the slightest movement in the room, she would immediately wake up and enter combat mode. She had a habit now. No matter if she was taking a nap or sleeping late, she had to pull out her gun as soon as she woke up. It was she who forced herself to enter combat mode all the time. Perhaps it was because of this that she was able to live until now unscathed. Many people said that a woman like Lu Yen was no longer a human but a god. She almost never made mistakes and never lost. All the people who wanted to kill her were dead, and she was the only one who was still alive. In fact, Lu Yen knew that she wasn't a god. She was just flesh and blood. Just like any other ordinary girl, she knew how to act coquettishly, how to be unreasonable, and how to cause trouble on purpose. But she would only do this to Xiao Fei. In other people's eyes, Lu Yen was always high and mighty, but in Xiao Fei's eyes, Lu Yen was a very childish and domineering little girl. Xiao Fei carried Lu Yen on his back and walked 3 kilometers. 3 kilometers wasn't a long distance. Lu Yen wasn't heavy, but she had to pass through the headquarters of the Xiao family. Xiao Fei's doting only proved how good he was to Lu Yen. That was something that many women could only dream of. Back to the manor, the housekeeper hurried over to take Lu Yen from Xiao Fei. Xiao Fei made a shushing gesture. Obviously, he didn't want her to wake up. Xiao Fei carried her all the way to the bedroom, not the guest room, but his own bedroom. He had planned to put her down and sleep on the bed. But just as he was about to put it down, Xiao Fei hesitated. He knew that Lu Yen was a light sleeper, more so than anyone else. If he put her down, she would wake up immediately. In the end, Xiao Fei decided to carry her on his back. If he couldn't walk, then he wouldn't. He would carry her on his back quietly and not put her down. Lu Yen slept for 1 hour and 15 minutes. For ordinary people, it was a normal afternoon nap. But for Lu Yen, she hadn't felt so good in 2 or 3 months. She fell asleep defenselessly because she knew that even if the sky fell, Xiao Fei would hold it up for her. She even had a very beautiful dream. Chapter 4789. She dreamed that her mother came back to life in a cave in Iceland and that her father was no longer hiding. She dreamed that she met her sister and the 4 of them sat in a cozy house, eating lunch and chatting happily. When Lu Yen woke up from her dream, she could still smell the scent of her sweet dream. She greedily inhaled Xiao Fei's unique masculine scent. Then she entered the zone in 1 second. Psycho Xiao, how long did I sleep? 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 28 seconds, Xiao Fei said as he looked at his watch. I haven't felt so good in a long time. Lu Yen lazily got off Xiao Fei's back and stretched. I can make you feel even better. Do you want to try it? Xiao Fei turned around and looked at her. It's the middle of the day and you're talking about something that's not suitable for children. Is it okay? You must have misunderstood something. I meant to massage your shoulders. Xiao Fei stood up and walked behind Lu Yen, placing his big hands on her shoulders. Stop it. Do you think I don't know what you're doing? Lu Yen chuckled. Qin Chu had used this trick on Huamin many times, and Huamin would blush every time. But Lu Yen was different. When she was shameless, even she was scared of herself, let alone Xiao Fei. Yen, it seems like you're going to take the tiger bone wine, right? Xiao Fei asked as he massaged Lu Yan's shoulders. He didn't want to mention it so early in the morning, but he knew it wasn't a joke when he said it in front of so many people. No one could stop Lu Yan from doing whatever she wanted, not even him. He knew her too well and knew that Lu Yan wouldn't return empty-handed from Russia. Yeah, Lu Yan answered nonchalantly with her eyes closed, still enjoying Xiao Fei's massage. Is that guy from the Bai family that important to you? Sure enough, Xiao Fei was still jealous. Lu Yan laughed. You don't look good when you're jealous. You're not handsome anymore. Humph. Xiao Fei looked away. Lu Yan raised her hand and placed it on Xiao Fei's hand on her left shoulder. Xiao Fei paused. Fei, you know me best. You know me better than my father. So, I think you might understand what I'm saying. That kid from the Bai family doesn't have much of a relationship with me. I just went to assassinate him with a mission. In the end, there was a small accident. Bai Shang made me feel that his life in this world is more difficult than mine. So, I just want to speak up for him. It's just like how I once risked the risk of being infected and saved a group of unrelated children in Africa who had the plague. Lu Yan's explanation was very thoughtful. Xiao Fei could understand her. Lu Yan didn't care about the identity of the person she wanted to save, nor did she care about their relationship. Just for a moment, if it could arouse her compassion, she would lend a helping hand. To put it bluntly, Lu Yan saved people randomly based on her mood. However, she was not fickle. As long as she made a promise, she would fulfill it. Therefore, when she agreed to speak up for Bai Chang, she would definitely do it. Even if it meant risking her life, she would still obtain the tiger bone wine. This was her personality. If one day, you could measure Lu Yan with the morals and actions of an ordinary person, perhaps she wouldn't be the real Lu Yan. Hey, I've explained it so sincerely. Are you still going to be jealous? Don't be jealous. It's so sour. Lu Yan began to act coquettishly. Xiao Fei sighed slightly. He raised his hand and stroked her long hair lovingly. You want the tiger bone wine? I'll get it for you. Chapter 4790. Although she knew that Xiao Fei would definitely help her, hearing him say it personally, Lu Yan felt warm in her heart. She didn't forget to tease him. Huh? Don't you think this is a typical case of forgetting your father after marrying your wife? It's really nice of you to help me trick your father. Xiao Fei, I'll stop teasing you. If I continue, you'll kick me out. Lu Yan laughed. Then, in a flash, she got off the bed. Her movements were extremely clean. She turned on her watch and gave instructions to her subordinates. She didn't want to stay in Russia for too long, so it was inevitable that she would rely on Xiao Fei to get the tiger bone wine. In Lu Yan's heart, Xiao Fei was one of her people, so there was no need to be polite. At 9 p.m. that night, Xiao Fei went to the secret room where the tiger bone wine was stored alone. Perhaps because Lu Yan had specifically said that she wanted the wine during the day, the old man of the Qiao family was on guard. At night, Xiao Fei found that there were twice as many guards as usual. He was so smart, so how could he not know what was going on? Third young master. Hello, third young master. The guards of the Qiao family in the secret room all greeted the young master respectfully. Has my father been here? Xiao Fei asked knowingly. The leader of the guards hurriedly nodded. The family head came in the afternoon and told us to guard it strictly. Did my father also say that even if I came, I couldn't open the door? Xiao Fei asked him. The man was obviously a little embarrassed. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. It's okay. You've been in the Qiao family for many years and are also my elder. I definitely won't make things difficult for you or go against my father's orders. Thank you, young master, for your understanding. The white-haired leader of the guards looked at Xiao Fei gratefully. Xiao Fei knew that his father must have already told him, so even if he insisted on opening the door, his father would be alerted. It's okay. Continue with your work. I'm just here to take a look. I'll leave soon. Then, Xiao Fei turned around and left without even approaching the door of the secret room. As soon as Xiao Fei left, everyone let out a sigh of relief. Boss? Third young master give up on taking the wine? It's great that we don't have to fight with him. Otherwise, will really be in a difficult position. If we let third young master take away the tiger bone wine, the clan leader will definitely be furious. If we don't give third young master the wine, with his skills, he'll definitely tangle with us. At that time, if we hurt him, the clan leader's heart will ache and he'll still want to teach us a lesson. If we don't hurt him, he'll definitely not give up and continue to fight with us. Just thinking about it is scary. The guard leader didn't say anything. To be honest, he was also afraid of such a situation. Fortunately, Xiao Fei was more sensible. He did not force his way in or snatch the wine. Instead, he left. However, he was still vaguely worried that things weren't that simple. The third young master was easy to talk to, but what about Lu Yen? The whole world knew that this woman was not to be trifled with. At this thought, the leader of the guards reminded them, although third young master is gone, we still need to be on guard against Lu Yen. There were more than 30 elite guards guarding this place. At this time, not even a fly could fly in, let alone a living person. However, even such a tight defense was easily broken by Lu Yen. Lu Yen didn't go in herself. Instead, she used a computer to remotely control the surveillance system of the secret room. From the moment Xiao Fei went in, the surveillance system was hacked. Therefore, the people on the surveillance system couldn't see Xiao Fei going into the secret room. Then, Lu Yen put a kind of ecstasy on Xiao Fei's body. It was a kind of drug that caused a reaction. It wouldn't make people faint immediately. However, 10 minutes after Xiao Fei left, all 30 people fainted on the ground. After this group of people fainted, Xiao Fei turned back and gave Lu Yen an OK sign on the surveillance screen. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.